Hello and welcome to Allbox Spain Health and Wellbeing. You're listening to Craig, and this is my podcast where I'm interviewing Kelsey Louise from Shropshire in the United Kingdom. Today is the 16th of February 2021, and we're going to be talking about lockdown fitness and how Kelsey keeps herself fit, and hopefully give you some advice and tips on keeping fit as well. This channel is all about health and well-being, and what we try to do will bring people on screen and interview industry-leading professionals on what they do and tips to help you with your health and well-being, certainly during this period of lockdown. So without further ado, Kelsey, welcome.
Hello, it's nice to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So viewers, just in case you don't know, Kelsey is actually my daughter, and she lives in the United Kingdom. We live in Spain. Kelsey, tell the audience a little bit about yourself, please.
So I'm 23 years old and I'm currently a primary school teacher, just doing my day-to-day job.
Okay. And you're a keen enthusiast with physical fitness and health, I believe.
Yes, definitely. It keeps me busy and it's a great wind down from a long day at work.
So tell me why. What do you do? Tell me what motivates you with fitness, Kelsey.
I suppose it's just making myself a better person than I was yesterday. So I'm quite competitive. So every day I try to be better than I was the day before. And it does de-stress you. So if you've had a really long day at work, then you can come home and you can work out and then you've forgotten about the day that's happened.
Okay, interesting point. So your fitness helps you after a busy day at work to unwind and to forget about the day. That's interesting, because a lot of people, after they've had a bad day at work, would probably find that as an excuse to do nothing. But you're actually doing the opposite. You're using that to actually as a reason to do physical training. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. I kind of think that, like, if you give yourself the chance to think about not doing it, then you're giving yourself time to come up with an excuse. Whereas if it pops into your head and you're like, I need to work out tonight, just do it straight away. Because if you don't, the more time you hold off, the more excuses you're giving yourself.
Okay, very good. I like that. Very philosophical. You can tell you're a teacher. So if I say to you then, I'm the glass half empty man, as opposed to glass half full, I would say to you, why bother? What's the point? Why do all this fitness? I can just chill out and have a pizza and a Coke. Surely that's more enjoyable.
Well, no, it's not going to give your body the nutrients that you need. It's not going to keep you healthy. And if you've got a healthy body, in turn, you're going to have a healthy mind, and vice versa. And the time's going to pass anyway. So you may as well spend that time doing things that are going to make you a better, happier, more fulfilled person.
Okay, so you mentioned nutrients there. So
Yeah.
I take it part of your fitness and your lockdown fitness, which this is primarily about, actually includes some sort of nutrition as well?
Yes. It's kind of taken a bit of a journey to try and figure out what works for me and what doesn't. But I figured that not cutting out the bad stuff, so I still eat chocolate, I still eat crisps, I just eat it in moderation and in smaller amounts. And that's helped keep me on my journey, and it's kept me on track, because I feel as though if I was to say, right, no more crisps, no more chocolate, then I'd be more inclined to fall off and like binge eat and just eat loads of rubbish and then feel really bad about myself. So
that's a really interesting point, Kelsey. And you can tell that you're my daughter, because actually I spoke about You Are What You Eat on a podcast only yesterday, in fact, which is on our Anchor podcast channel. And I said exactly that, because chocolate is enjoyable, right? It's nice. And sometimes if you abstain or try to abstain, I presume it would almost be impossible for some people. And the fall would just be a bigger fall when you end up going back to it.
And if you've taken it away from yourself, you're thinking about it a lot more. And then you think about it and you start to crave it, and then you want to eat it, and then you do eat it, and then you feel bad. And it's just an endless cycle. So you just kind of eat what you like, but in moderation.
Okay, so we had some people ask some questions. I had a few people contact me with some questions about this lockdown fitness interview that we were going to be doing with you today. And one of the things was that not just in the UK, but all over, we're experiencing really challenging times at the moment with COVID, with the restrictions, with not being able to do the things that we want to do, that we used to do, and that we expect to do. So how have you managed to keep up with your fitness during lockdown? Do you go to a gym? Do you go to the park? What do you do? Do you train at home?
So I'm still working full time, so I have to kind of fit it in like I normally would, which I think has kept that routine in a good stead. The gyms over here in the UK are closed, so I don't have access to any gyms. So I'm spending my time, and mostly I'm making sure to get outside to go for a walk in nature or a small jog at least once a day. And then if I feel like it, I'll do a home workout. But then likewise, if I don't feel like it, then I won't do it.
See, a lot of people are going to be listening to this and thinking, if the gyms are closed, that's it. Sorry, time out.
Mm.
It's not my fault. I can't train. The gyms are closed. What about in the extreme when you're locked down? And certainly we've experienced it here in Spain, where there was a time when we actually couldn't go out, not even to exercise. You touched on there that you do some home workout. Now, I know you live in an apartment. You're not quite in a palatial mansion yet.
No.
So tell us, how do you use your apartment? What do you do in your apartment? Because again, a lot of people might think they haven't got the space to keep fit, thinking they may need gymnasiums and they might need running circuits to do physical fitness. So what do you do, Kelsey?
See, now I thought like that in the first lockdown. And then I simply moved my coffee table to the side of the room, and all of a sudden I had so much more space, which meant I could do more kind of physical activities. Like I could do star jumps, I could do planks, I could really like stretch out. And that was something I didn't think about doing until the second, maybe third lockdown. So have a look at your furniture and what can be moved, because that will give you so much more space. In terms of what I'm doing, I follow a workout program called Shreddy, and that's a great app. It gives you the option for what kind of workouts you want to do, so whether you want to tone up, whether you want to lose fat, and then it provides you with a plan that you can follow, and you can move the workouts around to days that suit you, to times that suit you. But I feel like that's been really good in tracking my progress and keeping me accountable for the stuff that I'm actually doing.
Okay, interesting. So you mentioned you're doing your workouts in your house or in your apartment. You're moving the table to one side. What sort of space does someone need? I mean, are you running laps up and down your living room? Are they static type exercises, on the spot exercises? You mentioned Shreddy. Can you maybe go into a bit more detail what a session might consist of? And particularly here, the audience would be interested in duration and intensity. So maybe reps, exercise reps, and time, really.
Yeah. So with the Shreddy, you have, if you choose to do 5 workouts a week, you will be given 2 HIIT sessions and then 3 other sessions, which will consist of legs, upper body, and abs and arms kind of stuff. The HIIT doesn't last long; it's only 12 minutes, which is great if you're, if you've got.
Can I just butt in there, Kelsey? Sorry,
Yeah, yeah.
HIIT. Now I know what it
Yeah.
is. You know what it is, but what does HIIT stand for the listeners, please?
High intensity interval training.
Okay,
So
thank you.
most of the time, your high intensity stuff, it does not last long at all, because obviously your body can only sustain that kind of impact for a certain amount of time. So those workouts on Shreddy are only 12 minutes, which is absolutely brilliant if you're one of those people that can't find time to work out, whether that be because you've got children or you've got other commitments. You can literally just get a 12-minute workout and you're done, because those 12 minutes you could take away from spending scrolling on your phone. Like, just put your phone away for 12 minutes and work out. It's as simple as that.
You could almost put the dinner on and do a workout whilst your dinner's cooking, I suppose, can't you? And that's
Yeah.
really quite interesting as well. 12 minutes. So I don't need to put on all my gym kit, put my gym bag on, get in the car, drive to the gym, spend an hour walking around in front of the mirrors and 10 minutes on the machines. I can do it all at home and get fit in the space of 12 minutes using this Shreddy scheme. Is this something you've devised, Kelsey, or is this something you've tagged onto? What is it?
I wish it was something I devised. It's something I've kind of like latched onto in that first lockdown. But now that I'm a lot more confident with working out, I kind of integrate some of my own exercises into it, or I will come off it and do what feels right to me. But no, it was created by a lady called Grace Beverley, who's my age as well.
Okay, Grace Beverley, big thumbs up there. Well done. So, Kelsey, very interesting so far, and I'm hoping that the listeners are finding this very useful as well. But I've got to ask you, why do you do it? Why do you do all this fitness in your house? You touched on it at the beginning of our show. Something about, you know, when you've had a heady day. Does it really work when you've had a bad day?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of science behind it as well. It releases loads of good, like feel good chemicals into your body. So scientifically, it's correct. And it helps me sleep at night as well. Instead of lay there thinking, oh, I'm so stressed about work, blah, blah, blah.
Good point.
I'll do a workout, I'll get in the shower and I'll feel so much more relaxed. And the stresses from the day have almost been sweat out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think you're meaning the serotonin and the dopamine, the feel-good chemicals, the brain chemicals, which are like the neurotransmitters, which make us feel good. And I have to add that I mentioned this yesterday in a podcast, that these transmitters are also triggered by things that we eat, and it can be things like chocolate. But that's on a different podcast. People can go and listen to that. So the health thing, the mental health, is very interesting. I think it's fair to say, Kelsey, there's a lot of people, neither of us are professionals, but there's a lot of people really suffering at the moment mentally with anxiety and stress and depression. So what we're saying here is that fitness can and does benefit the mental state and the mental health of people. Like I says, we're not doctors, but would you agree with that, Kelsey?
Oh, massively. I feel like it's a really underrated method of coping with mental health. It's very underrated. I think people kind of look at people who work out and think, oh, they've got their lives together, they're working out, they're doing this, they're doing that. But most of the time, the people who are working out to help kind of balance that mindfulness and the bodiness. Gotcha. Almost.
I think I suffer a bit of anxiety myself time to time, and now I recognize the signs, and if I think that I'm going into a bit of a anxiety driven day, then I'll do some physical fitness, because it does make me feel better. And you're right, I'll do like a 10-minute HIIT workout, and it does make me feel better. So that's really good. So Kelsey, during the lockdown, then I believe you set yourself a target and a goal. Would you like to tell the listeners what target you set yourself, and if you're happy to tell us whether you achieved that or not, please?
Yeah, of course. So initially my target and my goal was to just work out and do what feels good. Obviously, like everybody, you're going to have body image based targets. So for example, over Christmas and over the first couple of lockdowns, I think like the majority of people, we've all put on a bit of weight. Yeah. So I obviously wanted to trim that back and get back to where I was before and feeling good. And I've managed to do that. I've lost in total 3 kilograms since December. Since the beginning of January, which I'm really impressed with. And I think that's literally just been down to the fact that, you know, I haven't cut anything out of my diet and I've been extremely consistent, because I think it's so easy for people to get onto this healthy lifestyle, but then they don't see changes within a couple of days to a week, and all of a sudden they don't want to do it anymore because it's not happening.
So you're saying people really need to make those choices that are sustainable, because if they're not sustainable, and manage their expectation, because if they don't, then they're just going to fall off the end and go back to their old ways, right?
Yeah, so exactly.
You haven't changed your diet, but are you a relatively healthy eater? You know, what sort of...
Yeah, I would like to say I'm relatively healthy eating. Obviously, I like my alcohol. I like my snacks, especially my crisps. But I do try to make sure I'm as balanced as I possibly can be. So I'm a vegetarian. So I have to find ways of getting my B12, protein from veg like broccoli. So I do try my best to kind of fit everything in. And I kind of go with the more colourful the plate, the better, really.
Okay, so that's interesting. You mentioned nutrition. That's good. So you don't put too much restrictions on what you eat, but it sounds like you eat quite healthy compared to some people possibly, but you balance it with your fitness, and clearly your fitness is working for you physically, mentally as well, which is great. Another question I got, Kelsey, from someone messaged into the show was, do you find it hard sometimes? And, when you've had a bad day, we all have them. How do you motivate yourself to actually get off the derriere and do your workout? How do you motivate yourself to make that right decision?
It can be hard, like, especially when you've had such a demotivating day at work. You're absolutely exhausted and you just want to crawl into bed and binge Netflix and eat rubbish food. Like, we've all been there, and that's perfectly okay. But you can't keep doing that every time you have a bad day, because bad days happen, they're natural. But the time's going to pass whether you do it or not. So you may as well just get up and do it. Like, if you're sat there thinking, oh, I should probably work out, just get up and do it.
So what motivates you, Kelsey? What have you got a target in your head that you're saying, I'm doing this because? Have you got like a carrot at the end of this? What is it for you? Is this a target driven motivation, or?
I think it's just, I know that I'm going to feel better after I work out than what I do before. And I think it's the fact that I know that I'm going to feel better that drives me to do it. And, just like, I want to look good and I want to feel good in myself. And you have to think about the long-term goals that you've set. And, if you don't remain consistent with them, then you're not going to reach them. And that's going to make you feel even worse. So you just need to keep plugging on and moving forward. And eventually you'll get yourself into a good rhythm where you'll have a natural, okay, let's do this. Like, I don't particularly want to do it, but let's get it done.
Okay. So we've talked a bit about the exercises you do that can help you physically, mentally. What benefits have you seen yourself, Kelsey, from your sort of sustained fitness program that you're doing, your lifestyle? What benefits have you seen from your lifestyle? I mean, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 23, so I'm fairly young.
Have you seen the benefits from this lifestyle?
Yes, I have. My nails, like my nails are a lot stronger now that I'm making sure I'm getting in those vitamins that I need and that are vital. I feel happier in myself. I feel more positive. And I'm actually, like, I'm not as lazy. Like, usually if I had a cup of tea, we're going to be brutally honest here, I would put the cup down on the coffee table and forget about it until the next morning. But now, like, I'll put my teacup down and I'll go and wash it straight away. So it's kind of had a good knock-on effect in terms of my home life as well. Which,
so looking after yourself physically and mentally has actually improved on your housekeeping, pardon the pun.
yes.
Excellent. So, Kelsey, we're coming to an end of this show. There's a couple more points we'd like to cover, if that's okay with you. One is, what top tips have you got for people? The first category of person are those who have never done this, have no clue about doing this, and they need to be motivated. They've identified they need to do something because this lockdown could go on for a protracted period of time. So can you tell us, where should they go? Who should they follow? What should they do? What should expectations be? Can you give them some tips?
Yeah. So just get started, because at the end of the day, anything's better than nothing. Even if you start to make changes where you go for a walk a day, whether it starts at 15 minutes and then you slowly increase the time every couple of days. Everybody knows how to do a sit-up. Everybody knows how to squat. So just implementing those small exercises into your daily life. So for example, you could put the kettle on and do 5 squats until the kettle's finished boiling, because then, you're still getting that exercise in, but you're not making a massive change to your life, which can be hard to upkeep. In terms of who to follow to keep you, like, motivated, if you go on Instagram, it can be very hard to find the balance between all of these, super slim people that make you think, oh, I want to be like that, but it's going to be impossible. And it has kind of like a negative impact. But then there's the people who are doing it because, they want to be better for themselves, and they don't really care about, how they look, because they know that they feel good and they're doing what they need to do. And those are the kind of people that you need to kind of associate yourself with and follow on social media.
Sure.
because they post the ups and the downs of exercise. And I think it's really good to see as a newbie, because you know that not everybody who works out has got it together, or they're having perfect days, because, you know, everybody has that day where they just dip and they don't do a workout that they're supposed to, but it's completely fine. So it's just finding that balance.
Yeah, that's interesting. Finding someone who can motivate you but not demoralize you because they look so superhumanly fit. It's got to be
Yes.
realistic, isn't it, I suppose? So that's good. Do something. You're saying, look online, find who's appropriate for you, but do something, even if it's squats, even if it's going out for walks or speed walks or something like that. You mentioned sit-ups and push-ups, which is a good start, and eating healthy as well, I presume. The second category of go on, sorry.
No, I was going to say cutting things out, and then I was like, well, not cutting things out, but, you know, like moderation, having things less than what you would.
Absolutely, that balance that you spoke of earlier. And the second category of person would be those, and I'm sure there are many who used to do a lot of fitness and now just simply cannot be bothered because of the current situation. Would you give them a different sort of advice? What would you say to those?
I guess, like, I can completely understand why this situation is demotivating, because I've been there myself. Like, I tried to do it in lockdown, the first one, and I just dipped after 2, maybe 3 weeks. But to those who used to do loads and they don't do it anymore, they need to kind of reignite their passion for why they did it in the first place, and maybe even scroll back to photographs or, you know, memories that they've had doing what they love, to help pick them back up and boost them up again. But I don't know, it can be a tricky one.
Yeah, so just reminding themselves how they felt and why they got on the journey in the first place might help them get back to where they are. And like you said, photos is a great way. It can sometimes be a bit demoralizing, but sometimes we need to see the truth, don't we? We need to see those photos that we maybe don't like, that remind us of how we were, or for motivating, which is good. Kelsey, this has been great. You've been my first show. It's great to have my daughter on my first show, but someone who's quite inspiring herself. The fact that you are a busy person and you do your fitness no matter the constraints. So if you are locked down, you're doing it in your apartment, you're going out in the fields otherwise, or to the gym. I know you're a member of a rugby club. Who are the
Telford Hornets.
The Telford Hornets. So that's great. And I know that you've played cricket before, men's cricket. In fact, you've run the London Marathon. You've done half marathons. You've got a silver medal in kickboxing, national silver medal. So you are naturally a driven person, which is great to see, and hopefully that will inspire some people. Which brings me on to, you have a bit of a following on Instagram, and so if you want to mention who you are on Instagram, I'll make sure it's put on the screen when you mention it, so if people want to tune in, they can see, and just tell us a little bit about that Instagram channel, Kelsey.
Super. So my Instagram is simply Kelsey Louise Fitness. And it's actually something I started to monitor my progress and training for the London Marathon, which I think was maybe 2 going on 3 years now. And obviously, as you know, like you said, I'm a very driven, I like challenges, I like doing something new. As the London Marathon came and went, I then had to find a new challenge to set myself towards. So then my Instagram went focused on that. Now it's kind of more just about, you know, general fitness, health, well-being, different recipe ideas. There's even a few videos on there of exercises that you can do. So yeah, it's just a very honest page about health and lifestyle, and it shows kind of like the ups and the downs, which is, I think, what you need to see.
I think that's great. A realistic a realistic Instagram channel that's following your progress yourself, not professing to be anything, but if it benefits others and inspires others, a little bit like this interview for this show, Kelsey. You know, we're not professing to be experts, but we're putting information out there based on experience and knowledge, and if it helps people, that's a great thing. So remind me again, at Kelsey Louise Fitness, all one word?
Yeah, brilliant. All one word. Brilliant.
We'll put a tag on that. Well, Kelsey, it's been a great show, and thank you. This has been our maiden voyage in terms of video podcast. This podcast, just so I can let my viewers know and my audience know, this podcast is live going up to YouTube. It'll be on the YouTube channel, Allbox Spain. And it will also be on our Anchor podcast as well. Once it's up there, it'll be spread to about 5 or 6 different channels. Please comment below. Please like and subscribe. And please follow Kelsey Louise Fitness on Instagram. If you've got any questions, if you've got any subjects or topics you'd like me to cover, I'm based in Spain, but with the power of Zoom and technology, I can speak to people anywhere in the world, and we can create these videos for you to help you, to inspire you, and to motivate you. Kelsey, thank you very much. It's been fun, and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye.